If you guys want to have a little bit of a close-up, this is what my hairline looks like right now. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's been exactly 1 year since I've gotten my hair transplant done in Turkey. And in this video, I want to talk to you about all the ups, downs, and everything in between that led up to this point to lead up to the results that I have now. And so if you are considering a hair transplant for yourself, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into and what to expect at your own hair transplant. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this video. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Amir, and if this is the first video that you're watching about a hair transplant results by me, I would highly recommend actually checking out the first video I've made of me actually getting the entire procedure done. So in that video, I cover so much in depth about, you know, all the things A to Z and filmed pretty much my whole procedure in Turkey. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave that video linked, the first one, in the description below. And for those of you guys who've been following me for this past year, you guys have seen all of it, right? From month number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all the way up to this point. This video, I want to go ahead and cover exactly what happened from month number 1 through this point on, our 12-month mark, as well as give you the updated results on, you know, how my hair is looking now compared to my starting point. Before that, I want to go ahead and tell you guys, you know, I know a lot of you guys started catching on to this series from when I actually got my hair transplant, but I don't think many of you guys know my entire story of how I started to lose hair and, you know, where the beginning of all of this happened and how it actually even led up to the transplant. So I've been actually losing hair since 2016. That was the first sign. June of 2016 was when I first spotted my first balding area. It was a few friends of mine. We were just chilling at the beach. A friend standing right behind and above me. He asked me, hey, what's going on with the back of your head? And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? And that's when exactly he went ahead and he snapped this photo. I'll keep this photo for as long as I live, because this was the start of something so crazy, and you know, something that led up to this whole YouTube channel even. This is the first point of, you know, hair loss that I've noticed back in 2016. I was 19 years old at that time, and I was pretty devastated, honestly. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm losing hair. Maybe it's just a bad haircut. Maybe it's just something that's, you know, that's momentary, it'll grow back. But as I did some more research, unfortunately, it was androgenic alopecia, and the first thing I jumped onto as the most common treatment was Rogaine or minoxidil. That actually brought in a good amount of results towards my 6-month mark. This was probably a good indication of, you know, Rogaine, and I've even made a review on Rogaine of my first year on it. It really did what it said it was claiming to do. Like, I got a lot of the hair back on the crown, and since at that point I was pretty naive and I was still pretty young at that time, so I was like, hey, Rogaine fixed the issue, I don't really need it, and I just went ahead and discontinued it. And as we know, what happens when you discontinue these treatments is it goes ahead and it comes back, and if not, it comes back worse. Another thing that I did notice the next time when it got worse is that I've always naturally had a widow's peak, right? My hairline would naturally go back, like it would kind of make a V. Now it doesn't because I got the hair transplant, but anyways, it used to make a V, and I didn't really notice it too much until you know, before my hair transplant. And as my hair loss progressed, that V actually went back a lot more, and that hair right over here started to thin out a whole lot more. And as you know, my crown was actually at this worst point. Like, it was shrinking from the crown, and you know, my temples were going back, and slowly, like, it just felt like my hair was slowly pinching in like that, and then eventually coming to the point where I would just lose the whole, you know, front half of my hair. And it did get to some points like that where I was, you know, in my shedding phases of these hair treatments, you know, when it actually got pretty close to me losing pretty much everything up on top. And over the years, I picked up treatments like finasteride, which I still, you know, take till today. It's been amazing, no side effects. I've done low light laser therapy, biotin, saw pomado, hair growth oil, and all these, you know, crazy popular treatments that I would think would, you know, actually stop hair loss. But my main problem was the consistency of these regimens, right? And it came to the point where I was just on and off, on and off. And at that point, I don't even know if I was even stabilizing my hair loss. So after trying on all these treatments, the ones that I've stuck to was minoxidil and finasteride since 2018. But I believe the peak of my hair growth or actually I should say the point where I started to see the diminishing returns was towards the end of 2019, where I was like, okay, I guess this is the best my hair is gonna look, because even though I was taking finasteride and Rogaine, I was like, okay, maybe it's gonna grow a little bit, maybe it's gonna grow a little bit more, and you know, it just didn't. And I just found myself using fillers and volumizing sprays and all these crazy hair products just to make my hair look like how it once did, you know, at least back in 2016. I can't expect my high school hair, which was phenomenal and no signs of, you know, hair loss at all, but at least if I could get back to the point where I first started, I would be a lot happier. And unfortunately, that just wasn't the case. The whole routine and regimen of trying to cover and hide and thicken your hair was just so annoying. Towards the end of 2020, it was like right in the smack dab middle of the pandemic, where my friend Tayyab that you saw in my hair transplant video, where you made that collective group decision to go ahead and get our hair transplants done. He was the one who really pushed me to go ahead and do it in Turkey. I was like, hey, I might just get it done over here. I spoke to a few doctors in Beverly Hills, and they were like, like, we're at the top class facilities, we'll do it. And I was like, hey, I'm not trying to take any chances with my hair. Let me just go get it done from like the best people who are gonna be doing it on these Hollywood celebrities. But then I compared the price tag, obviously, from what I was paying in Turkey versus what I was paying in the US, and the Turkey one definitely seemed like a more of an attractive option. But at the same time, one thing I was very skeptical about in terms of getting my hair transplant in Turkey was the fact that it was a foreign country. I didn't speak the language, and I have seen the horrendous hair transplant fails. And and the hookah bar that I go to, the server who served me, he said he got his hair transplant done in Turkey as well. And I could tell that when he said he got a hair transplant, he didn't have to say he got a hair transplant. I could see a straight line right like through the middle of his scalp. His whole hair was still looking pretty bad, and I was like, this is the result that you got from Turkey. So that kind of definitely really pushed me away. And I spoke to actually a lot of clinics, making sure that I do all of my research before I go ahead and pull the trigger, because this is definitely a big step, and if it goes wrong, I can only do this procedure once, right? And fixing it is just like a pain in the ass, and I didn't want to go through all that hassle again. And after going back and forth with a lot of clinics, Vera Clinic was the one that I ended up picking. They're the ones who made me the most comfortable with the procedure, and they were able to go ahead and address all of my concerns. My biggest concern was just the hairline, because I saw the guy at the hookah bar I go to, and his hairline was super straight, and I was like, how do your patients look? Can I see some testimonials? And all of these guys had like very natural, like the hairline that I have right now. That's when I knew I was kind of onto something, a quality clinic. And they told me about the graft placement techniques and their Sapphire FUE method, and the whole process start to finish. Like, they legit knew what they were talking about, instead of just some sales reps trying to close me in on a deal. I spoke to them over the phone, FaceTime the doctor, all that good stuff, and they were willing to work with me and answer all the questions and concerns I've had. And I was like, okay, this is the one, and I went ahead and pulled the trigger. So once I got that green light from Vera, these were the exact photos that I sent into the doctor from my online consultation to see how many grafts I would need. Based on his analysis, he said I would need about 4,500 grafts. That was just like the rough estimates based off what they saw in the photos. But when I did go into my actual in-person consultation, the day before my transplant, and they did the whole analysis of not only my balding area but also my donor area, they said that I have a ton of healthy grafts that were double and triple grafts, which I was very thankful about. But they said that they can pull off a bigger job without even risking over harvesting, and realistically they said that I would need anywhere in between 5,500 to 6,000 grafts, after they looked at more in depth with their magnifying tools on their computer and had their system do the whole analysis and everything. And again, I was still afraid of the over harvesting, and I really wanted to stick to nothing more than like 4,500 to 5,000. So they said that 5,000 is probably a good range, and I just went ahead and agreed to it. They also gave me an option on where I would like my hairline to be. They drew it out overnight for me to go ahead and actually decide. So they had this hairline, the original one right now, the one that I have, and I could have gone at least even a little bit lower right here too. I'll put the picture up right here if you want to check it out. But I did ended up vouching for the little bit higher hairline, which turned out actually perfectly fine. I'm like super happy with it, right? But yeah, I mean, I just so we can save like an extra few hundred grafts just in case. but it turned out completely fine, and I did go for the more conservative option. Transplant was done like this. Again, you want to check out that video, you can go ahead and click the link in the description and check out all the details of that. But in terms of the post transplant experience, that was definitely quite a journey. The first month to month and a half, the first month was actually not bad at all, right? Because I still had my new hair grafts, the buzz cut looked pretty fine on me. But the part where it started to get difficult was when my shedding started. I believe that was on my second to third month mark. That's when basically all the hair that they ended up, all the grafts actually that they ended up transplanting, they go ahead and they shed off, and that's where the new hair that was transplanted actually ends up sprouting. And if you guys have been following me, you guys have probably seen in my 2 or 3 month update video about the crazy shedding process, and it honestly looked like the transplant failed. This was something I was made aware of before my hair transplant, that like, hey, it's gonna look pretty bad before it can actually get good. And I spoke with my doctor when that was happening, and again, he said it's absolutely normal, you don't have anything to worry about. That's a good sign. That means that the hair is about to grow. So it was just a ugly part of the transplant that I had to just kind of get through. I was just wearing a lot of hats, a lot of beanies when I was going out, and it wasn't honestly too bad. I just had to make sure that my side of my hair was just faded, looked good, and I just kind of had to just grind it out. Luckily it wasn't summertime, it was wintertime, so I wasn't really even going out too much. I was mostly home, so it wasn't the end of the world. And then at the 4 month mark was when the hair was like sprouting out, but around month number 5 in June was when I actually started to see some substantial results. And that was super exciting. That's when I started to see some growth in my hairline. Some of the hair in the front was growing out. That was like thinning initially. That was all growing out. And my crown at the time was still looking kind of the same, but they said the crown just take the longest to grow in. So I knew I had to be patient with that, but I was really happy about my hairline. This came in pretty relatively quick, and it came in really nice as well. Like at first I had some gaps in between my hairlines and whatnot, but once it grew in really well. I'd say around the 6 to 8 month mark was when this first area, the front half of my head, really stabilized, and I got the full 100% result over here, and that I was really happy with. But anywhere in between month number 8 through 10 is where I finally gained that density and the thickness on my scalp, or my crown area right over here, that I once did in high school. Then this was actually before I even had that initial photo over here of my hair transplant. So right now this is at my month number 12 mark, and as you can see, the crown over here has gained so much density, so much thickness, and it's to the point where it's really difficult to tell that I was even losing hair or I got a hair transplant at a certain point. And for those of you guys who are wondering my regimen, I am taking ketoconazole shampoo. Every other day I have this hair growth stimulating conditioner, and I microneedle once a week, and I take finasteride. So that's my regimen right now. And if I add or subtract anything to the routine, or actually I'm gonna go ahead and create a hair growth routine update video of all the products and different stimulants that I use to keep and maintain my hair, as well as potentially even stimulate some more hair growth. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a separate video on that. The hair transplant hair is permanent, right? This is DHT resistant because these follicles that are taken from the back, these are not susceptible to hair loss. It's only the natural hairs that you have, your native hairs, those are the ones that you have to worry about from miniaturizing and eventually losing out throughout each hair cycle. And for that reason is why we take finasteride, maybe even switch to dutasteride. Still doing a little bit more research on that before I finally go ahead and commit. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to go ahead and slow down the production of DHT and try to retain this hair. And now it's just a maintenance game, if you want to call it. I'm still not at my 100% mark. I'm still expecting, a little bit more growth. Again, as I said, I'm at the 90 to 95% mark. So we'll see our 100% results at our 18-month mark. So until then, I guess we'll still go ahead and continue. Maybe, I know there is a little bit more growth needed on the, the crown area a little bit. So let's see if that wants to grow in the meantime, in these coming months. And honestly, if this is the 100% results, I am extremely happy, grateful, and satisfied, because my hair has not looked this good in the past half decade. To be able to have this, at the age of that I am right now at 25, it's life-changing, man. To be able to go ahead and dress the way that I want and not have my hair take away from it, or to be able to style my hair in any way, shape, or form that I want, and not having to worry about showing a thinning area or worrying about having to use a filler or anything like that. Again, it's that ease of mind, that peace of mind that you get of that one thing taken care of. If I lose my hair in my mid-30s or mid-40s, I honestly don't care. You know, at that point I'm past you know, caring about it. But right now, while I'm young, I want to enjoy this. If we need a second transplant, we still have a good amount of grafts left in the back to go for a second procedure, as well as a good amount of grafts left on the beard, on the neck hair, which I never used. So if I ever need a second transplant, I can. But if I come to a point where I have just full acceptance of the whole balding stuff, I will, you know, I might as well just go ahead and shave my head at some point. But until then, this is my final result, and I'm extremely happy and satisfied with it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys also my donor area right now, so you guys can see what it looks like after a 5,000 graft extraction job. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and turn around and show you guys that real quick. If you guys can see, this is what my donor area looks like. Again, it does not look patchy or look like, you know, it looks like it was like, you know, over harvested or anything like that. It looks very natural, very normal, and this is right now with my haircut. With the fade, but when the hair does grow out, it doesn't look like the job was touched at all. Again, I think I have like a fade right here, so again, you might be able to see a little bit of scars, but again, even that is like hardly noticeable. But 1 year later, this is my donor area. If you guys want to have a little bit of a close-up, this is what my hairline looks like right now. Let's see if I can get this to focus right here. As you guys can see, there's a good amount of single grafts placed in the front, so to the point where it doesn't look like, you know, like a crazy bod job or anything like that, like a obvious job. But yeah, I mean, from far away, if I even zoom out a couple of inches, again, looks 100% natural, normal. And this is obviously my mid scalp area where, you know, originally the hair loss started from. And again, very happy, very content, and very satisfied with how this overall turned out to be. And to be completely frank with you, this hair transplant actually turned out to be better than I had expected myself. I didn't expect my hairline to actually look this good and all of this hair density to fill in like the way it did. So if you yourself are considering a hair transplant, especially in Turkey, I would recommend none other than Vera Clinic. These guys, I've been working with them for the past year, and they've been supporting me so much in terms of not only before and during the hair transplant, but also after the hair transplant. If I have any questions, or if I have anything that's concerning me, or if I just have any general things that I'm afraid of, like, I can just shoot them a message right away and they can get back to me. And the entire hair transplant operation is supervised by the doctor, and you know, he actually comes ahead and makes the slits and everything. And I think their staff and their entire team is doing something amazing, you know, for international hair transplant. So if you guys are on the fence of it and want to get your own online consultation done just to see how many grafts you would need and what kind of job that you're looking at, I'll leave their contact info in the description below, so you can go ahead and you know, just talk to them and see exactly where you're at in terms of, you know, your hair transplant needs. But other than that, if you guys did enjoy this video or found it helpful, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that I'm going to upload on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next video. Peace.